It's time for Solutions for Seniors to Be, here on WATD. Here to help make your golden years golden, offering guidance on programs and services available to you and your loved ones in your retirement. Now, here's your host, Chris Shea.
Good Sunday morning. Hope everyone's doing well here in late February and getting ready for March. I am having the pleasure today of speaking with a man that I've known for a little over a year. I've met him at a couple of senior networking groups. He is president, or is it president that you call yourself, or is it Grand Poobah, or on the Cape Cod group and Plymouth and...
Either one works, really.
Allan Parker, he cares a lot about the senior living space. He's a director of sales and marketing for Calhoun Care Associates here on the South Shore, but he also has founded a company called Gardein. So we'll talk a little bit about both, but I'm going to let you do a little bit better introduction than that, Grand Poobah, than what I did.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, no. So we founded a company. My wife and my mother founded Calhoun Care about 14 years ago now, and basically we started it because my mother's parents, we weren't able to find good care for them, and my wife was in the space and was doing CNA type care and was managing a household, but after many other things that were going on, the two of them founded the company together and did it because we know we've gone through those kinds of things and understand really what's the pitfalls that people run into and what it's like to deal with someone who has some sort of problem, whether it's Alzheimer's, dementia, or Parkinson's, or things like that. We have a good understanding of what people go through and want to help. I mean, there's certainly lots of other businesses that we could have started or done that would have made more money. This is a passion for all of us to really assist and help people.
Yeah, everyone that works in or I'd say most of the people I know that work in the senior space have done it because something has happened to them.
Yeah.
So back up, CNA care, for those people that don't know the acronyms, because
Sure.
there are a lot of acronyms that are out there. So what does CNA stand for?
Certified Nurses Assistant.
Okay.
Basically, CNAs and HHAs are people.
What's an HHA?
HHA, a home health aide. And basically what they do is they go into the home and they assist people. They're usually non-medical. So what they do is they assist people with daily activities, whether that's helping them get up in the morning, take a shower, helping them use the toilet, preparing meals, helping them get out to appointments, maybe grocery shopping, whether that's potentially going to a doctor's appointment and help advocating for them at those doctor's appointments, as well as taking them to the appointments, because a lot of times people will go to the appointment and then maybe not remember everything that's been happening at that appointment, what the doctor's telling them, sort of what's going on, and then the family will ask, like, "Hey, Mom, how's it going?" And Mom will say, "Everything's fine. There are no problems at all."
Yeah.
And it's not that they're lying, but they just don't really want to burden people.
Right.
So it's or they forget.
And the other thing, too, is I know that for my mother, when she was alive, she didn't want to go to the doctor because she didn't want to necessarily know what the problems were that were going on with her. She was very insistent upon not having doctors. She didn't want to deal with it. She was like, I just don't want to do this. And I also know that other people don't necessarily advocate for themselves and for different types of treatment, because they go in, they think that the doctor is the end-all, be-all person in charge of their health, when the reality is that you're in charge of your own health.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, particularly when they get older, they don't advocate for themselves. They need someone to stand up and say, hey, look, they've got problems, they've got challenges, they've got issues.
Right.
And it's not that they want to be a burden, right, as you said, to someone, but they've got challenges, right? My dad had challenges, and he, towards the end of his life, needed a wheelchair to get in and out of the house.
Sure.
So I'd have to go, and because my parents didn't have a ramp set up, I'd have to literally go and get him in the wheelchair and take him down 4 or 5 steps and plop him into the car.
Right.
And it was a challenge, and if I didn't do it, or my brother didn't do it, my mother was 5'2", 100 and something pounds, and my dad was 6'1", 250 pounds ish.
Right.
There was a 0% probability she was getting him into a wheelchair and anywhere.
Right.
So
and
she needed help.
Yeah. And needed to know how to do it properly so that both people don't get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's a focus of what we do, is getting people out to do the things that they used to and
they want to do.
Right. And not taking huge steps, because usually you're not coming in and making wholesale changes, but really sort of spending the time to get to know and understand them and what their needs are. It usually takes us about 3 to 4 weeks to really put together a good team that works. Because some people like chatty people, some people don't like chatty people. It's not that the caregiver's bad; it's just the caregiver's probably not best suited for that individual. And understanding, we really take the time to understand what that person's needs and wants are, and then try to match. Now, obviously, if there's an emergency, we have to.
Someone's got to show up.
Someone's going to show up and take care of them. So that's why I say it usually takes like 3 weeks or so to really get a good team together for someone and figure out like what it is that they need and understand and also give each other the time to acclimate to each other, because someone may come in and they're like, oh, I don't know if this person's the right person for me.
Yeah. Change is hard.
Change is always hard.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to the radio station recently, a different radio station, driving in the car, and they were talking about people dating and how like one person's social and one person's an extrovert, introvert, and whether or not it works. And I'm like, yeah, that can, somebody can be a standout rock star at what they do, but if their personality doesn't match what you're looking for as a patient, in this case, as a senior who's looking for some help, it can be just a miserable experience having somebody in your living space.
Yeah. No, it's and that's the thing is we the people that we hire, one, they have a caring heart. They have to. In order to do this, to do the job. It's not an easy job.
No, I can remember at the end of my father's life having to take him to the restroom, and it was awkward at best.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard for family members, especially a son or daughter, that the dynamic changing in that relationship. It's a challenge. I mean, honestly, this is why we do what we do, because most people they can't make that transition to being a child and then caring for their parent, and sometimes it's very difficult for the parent to allow that to happen, to have the children to do that. And it's much easier to have someone come in who knows that person where they're at too. So especially people with dementia, people have this expectation like,
so hard,
hey, mom, dad, you should know this, you should know who I am, or whatever. And it
doesn't
tough.
work that way.
And some people are very capable of doing it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's much easier for someone who's just coming from the outside and coming in and understanding, taking that person and living where they're
They
at.
have
in
70
their life.
years or 50 years of history,
right?
To work there. Yeah, no, I know that it actually the harder one is usually the parent giving control to their child.
Yep.
Because again, I'm a financial advisor, and my mother was a very successful realtor. I couldn't tell her how to do anything around her money or anything around. It took me a year to get her to redo her will after my father passed away.
Sure.
Because I was still looked at as the 8-year-old kid who didn't know anything. And even though I know what I'm doing, it was just not received properly. So sometimes it needs that third party voice to come in and be like, hey, this is the way it is. And
Right.
and the dementia and the mind memory loss is a challenge as well. I can remember when my grandmother had dementia, I would go in and visit her, and 50% of the time I'd be like, hey, Chris, love you, how's it going? The other half of the time, she had been the head ER nurse at St. Luke's Hospital in New Bedford, and I would get sworn at because her line, all of her medicine wasn't being properly taped up to her body or whatever, and I'd get sworn at as the orderly, and I'd be like, okay, it's going to be one of these days.
Yeah.
And I'd turn around and I'd go grab someone in the hall and be like, hey, look, this is what's going on. They'd look, oh, we just fixed that. I'm like, I don't care. Go in and pretend like you're doing it again. And even if you don't change anything, make it look like you did something so that she doesn't swear at me.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the understanding is living with people where they're at, right?
Yeah.
And understanding that, you have to make changes. So, for example, we had a client, and the wife, the husband was very concerned about bringing someone in to do the assessment. So what my wife did was, well, all right, what does she like to do? Where can I sort of come and meet her and help her? So she loved horses. So, he said, all right, well, I'm going to meet her and I'll just start up a conversation and I'll get the information that I need that way. And I think being a family-run organization, we obviously we need to make a living, but we can do things that are a little bit different and we think outside of the box. So, she just went to the stable and had a conversation with her. And then
Started talking about horses probably first.
Yeah, of course. Why not? You focus on the things that person is most interested in, and then you can ask the other questions and figure out sort of what you need to help and assist.
Yeah, and I think that's a key thing with servicing anyone, let alone seniors and people with cognitive challenges, is understanding where they are and just accepting them for who they are.
Yeah.
Right? That history that people carry with them for, I'm sure that they were a lovely married couple for 30, 40, 50 years or whatever, and sometimes you get very protective of your loved ones.
Of course.
And don't want bad things to happen to them. Believe me, I know. I have people tell me all the time that they don't want me to know about anything, and I'm like, I can't do anything about what. I can't steal your money. Like that, just no. I'm like just here to help.
Right.
And however that shows up, it shows up.
Well, and that's the challenge, right? Is earning people's trust and developing that and then helping them. And we work really hard at that. We've been in business for 14 years. We've got an office in Hanover. We have an office down in Sandwich, and then we have an office up in Maine. And we got the office in Maine because we had a client who wanted to go to their summer home in Pretty Marsh.
Cool.
So we got licensed, we got insured, we found caregivers. We had the caregivers who were here in Massachusetts take them up to Maine, and then the ones who were up there who we hired in Maine then took over, and we've built the business from that point forward.
Nice.
So yeah, we've been in Maine for 12 years or so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Make sure you go up there and visit in the summertime, right?
Summertime's a lot nicer sometimes because this is up in Ellsworth, which is near Bar Harbor.
Yep.
Which is
Beautiful.
But during the winter, it is it can be desolate.
Yeah, it can be harsh. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back. Are you fit to retire? I'm Chris Shea, financial advisor with BPS Financial Services in Marshfield. I work with clients to create a 100-day plan that can help get you started so that you can get the most out of your retirement. You've worked your whole life towards your goal of retirement. Let BPS Financial Services put together a plan that will help you enjoy your retirement. Find out how a 100-day plan tailored to you can help you get started in your retirement at fit2retire.com/Chris-Shea or call 781-733-5996. That's 781-733-5996. And now for my fast red disclosure, as this has been compliance approved.
Chris Shea is a registered representative offering securities and advisory services offered through Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC, member FINRA/SIPC, a broker-dealer and registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity, located at 752 Ocean Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, 02050.
That's 781-733-5996. And welcome back. Hopefully you got the information on me on how to contact me about the Fit to Retire platform, because retirement should be more than just your money. It's got to be social, self-identity, personal relationships, health and nutrition. And a big part of that health and nutrition is having help when you finally need it. And I've got Allan Parker here from Cahoon Care Associates. We chatted a little bit about that before the break, but I do also know that you started this thing called Gardein.
Yeah.
And you brought into the studio, I can't show it because it's not, we're not on the video portion of this, but it looks like a little Fitbit that I have on my wrist.
Exactly.
So why don't you educate us all on what Gardein is and this new venture that you guys have started.
Yeah, so sort of to coincide with the home care agency, we were looking for some technology to help. Honestly, this time there are so few caregivers that are available. What we were looking for is something to sort of branch out to help people without a physical person being there in the home. And what this does is it monitors, but more importantly, it's gathering data on what's going on with the individual. So you know when they're active during the day, you know what their activity levels are at, what their exercise levels are at, but also what their gait speed is. And there's a direct correlation between your gait speed and fall prevention. So they show that as your gait speed, if it's high, then you're less likely to fall. But it correlates so that if the gait speed starts to go down significantly, chances are that you're going to be closer to a fall.
So gait speed is, for those people that don't know, how quickly you're walking.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Just so that people, because we work and live in this, but some people are like, gait speed, what the heck's that?
Right.
It's how quickly you're walking.
Yeah.
Right? So continue.
Yeah. So by gathering that data and understanding, it allows you to really kind of basically prevent the falls from happening. Now, the device itself also has the ability to detect if a fall happens. It has a metronome in it, so it basically measures speed and distance. So you wear it on the wrist, and then it'll allow, if someone falls, you'll have an understanding like this person fell. So it's great for the families. They could basically download the app and have access to understanding sort of what's going on with their loved ones without someone being there, without there being cameras in the home, all these things that can be really invasive. This is something that they can wear. It's very nondescript. It looks like a Fitbit. So
yeah, it looks pretty much exactly like the Fitbit that I have on. I looked and I was like, hey, wait a second, that looks pretty darn similar.
Exactly. And so most people don't want people to think that they are debilitated or they have some sort of ailment, right? So this is something that's
dignity is very important for people.
Exactly. One of the key things: dignity, compassion, respect. That's sort of key things that we deal with both with Gardein as well as Cahoon Care. And so this really will detect that. There is a little button on it, so that if you're having problems, you can press the button, and then you could notify basically
the app,
notification.
The people in the app get notified, right?
Right, and then so the way it's set up currently is that it would go to the family member. Now, if you wanted something else, you wanted it to go to a call center or something else, then we can work with that as well. And we're working with assisted living facilities, we're working with individuals, we're working, with independent living, all kinds of different groups to have this technology, because it can be really valuable information to really prevent people from going into bad things happening. We also have a bathroom monitor, so if someone's going in and out of the bathroom too much, we can sort of detect that, and then, oh well, maybe they have a urinary tract infection, UTI.
Yep.
And so you can, hey, let's get them tested. All these sorts of things that you can you get a glimpse without Big Brother, right? And you're
people don't want to have the feeling that they're being watched 24/7,
right?
And that they have their individuality and their freedoms, even if they're somewhat limited relative to what they used to be.
Right. It also detects sleep levels. I mean, it's really great information. We actually sell it to other home care agencies as well, because it really bridges the gap. Someone says, "Well, I don't think they're ready for home care." Okay, well,
let's find out.
Let's throw this on them. See where they're at. See what's going on with them, and then the family. I mean, we did this up in Maine. One of the first clients we had, they went into an independent living. They really should have been they wanted to be into a memory care. So the independent living said, "Hey, why don't you get some home care?" And they're like, "I don't think I need home care." Okay, well, what about this bracelet? Oh, okay, yeah, sure, let's throw that on them. They put it on. After 2 weeks, the son called us up and said, "Hey,
the data says,
yeah, we've been looking at this," and I think it took him a while to sort of log on and get used to getting on and figuring out what it is that he's looking
change
at.
Is hard.
And he's like, "Okay, I need help. All right, sure. We'll get some caregivers and help you out." And it really does, bridges the gap and helps, that connection for home care agencies to get in there earlier. And it's sort of a compromise for those family members and the loved one who's you're worried about, and they don't want anyone in there, but they've fallen a couple of times, and you just don't want. What you don't want is that really bad fall to happen.
Yeah.
And
my Nana, my dad's side, when I was in elementary school, she was one of the people that fell and didn't get up.
Yep.
Right? She fell, broke some bone in her body, and she was living alone in Boston. And 24 hours later, she was found dead on the floor. She fell and couldn't get up. And my dad always said, like, that commercial, I'm falling, I can't get up, the bracelet or whatever it was, the
pendants.
The pendants that people had. He's like, I would have been a great salesperson for that, because he lost his mom because they didn't have it.
I mean, those are great. I think but two challenges with those
you've got to be conscious and be able to use it.
You have to be able to use it, and some of them do detect. But I think one of the challenges, especially with the necklaces, is it's big and it's bulky.
Yeah,
so what do? They
they don't want to wear it.
They'll wear it during the day. But so my grandmother had one of those, and she then at night she'd put it on the door so that she wouldn't forget it. But if you get up in the middle of the night and you go to the bathroom
and you fall, then
you're not wearing one.
Right. Yeah.
It's waterproof. It's it's really soft and comfortable. I mean, feel it, and you forget it, and it's got a battery life that's 9 months, 9 months plus.
I wish my Fitbit lasted a week. I have to recharge it every week.
Exactly, and that's you don't have to worry about it. You put it on, you set it up, and you forget it.
That the 9 month battery life on that is probably the biggest thing about it, because, as you said, like, people take a shower, they take it off, they forget to put it back on.
You don't need to, because it's waterproof
and it lasts for 9 months. You're covered.
Yeah.
That's. I think that was the most intriguing part about it, or biggest benefit, because up until then I'm like, yeah, well, what happens if mom or dad takes it off and forgets to put it back on? But if it's 9 months of wear and before it's no longer functioning,
exactly,
you've got plenty of time to make that work.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, fantastic. I mean, this is why
You got to lead with that
together.
next time.
Oh, you got to build up to that.
Yeah, well, yeah. But those are the waterproof and the 9 months of time. For me, makes it something that is a lot more palatable, and because when I think of a wearable, like I know I did this Monday night. I went out or Saturday this weekend.
Yep.
My Fitbit was down to like 25%, so I charged it in the car.
Sure.
Right. So when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I got to where I was going, and I ran in, and like an hour later, I was like, "Oh man, I forgot my Fitbit." I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? I'm still getting my exercise. I'm still doing some things.
Of course.
But I was just like, I went to look for what time it was, and I'm like, I left it in the car.
Right.
And
I mean, I have an iWatch, and I do the same thing. It has a 24-hour battery essentially.
yeah,
And I go to the gym and work out, and I like to have it on so that I'm keeping track and seeing where my activity levels are at. But this is why it's great.
yeah.
9 months, and I would say 9 months is pretty conservative. We've been finding actually that it's been lasting longer than that. So
Anything more than a month
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so that's I think that I didn't know that until right now, and you've been talking about this thing since I've known you for like 8, 9, 10 months.
yeah,
But you've never mentioned that it lasts for as long as it does, and it's waterproof.
yeah,
And I think that for a lot of people, I think the wearable and the going on and off is where people might think, oh, this isn't really that great.
right.
But if it can stay on,
Stay on. It's comfortable, and you basically you put it on and you forget about it,
Yeah.
and no one is the wiser.
yeah. And and I'll say this: it's it's not the most fashionable, but it's also not completely disgustingly ugly either.
Well, if I sell enough of them, we'll probably be able to
Customize them.
customize them. Maybe we'll get a Prada version or something.
So unfortunately, we're coming up to the end of our time here.
Yeah.
How would people get in touch with you to learn about Cahoon or Gardein?
Yeah. So
Or both?
Both. So our main number for Cahoon Care is 774-994-2212. We also have a website, so it's just CahoonCare.com, www. And then Gardein, which is GARDEEN. And then we have another website for that. So it's GardeinLLC.com. And the number there is 617-237-0042. So, yeah, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with anyone who has any questions about either.
And if you call, you can talk to him, or you can talk to his better half,
Or my mother, or or any of the people who are working for us at Cahoon, and you'll get either myself, my wife, my mother, or John Moniz, who's also our partner with Gardein.
Yep. And so thank you for your time. This has been great for me. It's been educational, insightful, and I hope that people have gotten some good things out of it.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity to come, Chris.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right. Well, it's Sunday morning, so that means we're getting ready to listen to the Car Guy now. So enjoy the Car Guy and enjoy your the rest of your Sunday here in February.
All right, take care.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trip, but I must have used the wrong car. Head is in a bad place, and I wonder what's good for. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. My head is in a bad place, but I'm having such a good time. I've been running, trying to get hung up in my mind. Just got to give myself a good talking to this time. Just need a little brain salad surgery. I got to cue my insecurity. That I've been in the wrong place, but it must have been the right time. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong song. I've been in the right vein, but it seems like a wrong on. That I've been in the right world, but it seems like the wrong. Slipping, dodging, sneaking, peeping, hiding out down the street. See my life shaking with every who I meet. Refried confusion is making itself clear. Wonder which way I go to get on out of here. Cause I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. And I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong